Hello friends. I decided to try my hand at bookbinding for the very first time by making my own planner for 2023, and it was a struggle. Instead of trying to cover up the struggle by adding pretty music and hoping for the best, I thought it would be better if we just embraced the struggle and talked through it. As it turns out, for me, bookbinding is not a very accessible craft. I found that I needed a lot of physical help in order to complete many of the steps in the bookbinding process. Punching binding holes through 4 thick sheets of paper was one of those things. I was able to do half of the signatures, but my strength gave out and I ended up getting Jessica to help me with the second half of the signatures. The actual binding process, the sewing of the signatures, was very doable for me, but it did take me 2 different attempts to get it right. The first time I did it with the French link stitch because it's going to be an open binding book and I wanted it to be pretty, and it was a pretty stitch, but I'm not sure if it was because of the way the stitch is or if it's because of me doing the stitch wrong, but it just was not tight enough. It was very, very loose and wiggly, and so I ended up having to start over. The second binding, which I used the Coptic stitch with, went much better. Typically, you use this stitch with a sewn cover, so you would sew your hardcover into your signatures, but because that was not my original plan, my cover was not prepped to be sewn on. So I had to improvise a little bit by creating loops on my first signature with toothpicks, and then I just did the regular Coptic stitch from there. I did learn on my second attempt that using binder clips to hold the signatures together kept them in place, and I think that was why I was able to get this stitch tighter than I could the French link stitch. And then came the real struggle, the cover. The embroidery part, of course, was fine. However, in hindsight, I probably would have used different stitches to make the title more clear. After stitching, we then had to turn the fabric into book cloth, which would have went a lot smoother had we bothered to read the directions before starting. But no worries, we fixed it. My biggest struggle was actually gluing the book cloth to the chipboard hardcovers. The glue I was using is a bookbinding glue, but it was very thick, which made it hard to spread, and it also seemed to dry very quickly, which added to how hard it was to spread. So I did need a lot of help with that. I found that it took all of my stamina that day to finish these covers. It took me a full 24 hours for my arms to recover after this because it took so much energy and effort for me. I do wish I had not chosen black. It will never be clean. It's filthy right now. It was filthy when I made it. It's gonna be dirty, always. I think if I should ever try bookbinding again, I would definitely use thinner paper on the inside, and I would probably make it a soft cover book rather than a hard cover. Even though this was quite the struggle for me, I am pretty proud of how it turned out. I think for my very first time doing this, it looks good, and I like that my planner is set up exactly how I want it because I designed every page in it. Okay, and just a quick little flip through. We're not going to go through every page, but just give you a general feel of what's inside. We have a year at a glance. And then I divided it into each of the 4 seasons. First being winter, so that I could start using it this December. Each of the season pages also has a blank dot grid so that I could use things for future planning or goal setting or things like that for each season. The monthly setup is very, very simple. It's just a calendar overview for the month, having dot grids within the calendar for easy writing. I have a to-do list section with 4 blank columns, again with dot grid, and I can use them as weekly to-do lists. I could do them as category to-do lists. It could be for a project to-do list, however I need to use it that month. And this setup continues the same for each month, and then we go into spring, summer, and autumn. And then the last few pages of the planner are just blank dot grid sheets for any kind of note. All right, friends, that's it. I hope this inspires you to try something new today. And I thank you so much for being here. And I hope that means I see you soon.